Oh, I'm old enough to remember that first time round, my friend. Do you know what? I was thinking about it on the way here to see it, obviously knowing you from the very beginning with the lads, etc. I bumped into Jessie Nelson at the studio this morning, right? She sends her love.
Right, tell her.
And I thought, I will do. The joy of this job is meeting you guys at the beginning and then watching you grow, blossom, go on to, you know, huge things. And I think the last time I saw you, at least 10 years ago in the flesh, but most recently was actually at Madame Tussauds. So
you were there recently, were you?
No, but well, I had to launch your exhibit.
Right.
So I'm hoping to get a lot more out of you today. But I'm slightly unsettled by the fact that you're moving and talking now, my friend.
I'm not too far off my Madame Tussauds wax figure, to be honest.
You're looking well.
Very few words.
Segues neatly into Meltdown, doesn't it?
There we go. Exactly.
Right? The new single. Congratulations on Heaven, by the way, because that was huge, some 80 million streams. No surprise there. Meltdown. One of the lyrics that really touched me was, when it all melts down, I'll be there. Given the state of the nation and the world at the moment, Niall, will you tell me that you're going to be there for all of us, mate?
I'll be there. I'll be there. Yeah, no, this song is kind of about that kind of feeling of angst that we all, you know, relatively feel in different ways, and just like that. And the song is 180 BPM on purpose, because sometimes when you write songs about anxiety or that kind of feeling, they're generally like slow and ballad and heartfelt, and this one I was like, I wanted to be the pace of what your brain and your heart are doing when you do feel that sort of feeling. So I wanted to make it really fast, and with a bit of release in the chorus, when it all melts down, I'll be there, just to kind of, because at the end of the day, you feel anxious, but it'll pass at some point. And you know that when you're feeling anxious, that I'll be fine in a few minutes, but I'm going to go through this for a few more. So I just wanted to write about that.
It's like everybody feels, as you say, regardless of status. It's that TikTok. I always think of the 3 o'clock clock in the morning when you wake up. You've got no one to talk to. And the one lovely line I loved was, hard to tell the real from the dreams you imagine, because of course it's always worse when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you eventually talk yourself down, and it's never as bad as you actually think it is. And I know you've spoken about anxiety before, but as I say, it's something that we all feel, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's obviously a very human thing. We all feel it at some point. As I said, very relatively. Like, some people are on the heavier end of that. Whereas I wouldn't be the most anxious person, but I feel it sometimes, and I watch people around me feel it, and talking them through it, and you know, we all have it in our lives in some shape or form.
And you get to express it through your music, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best place to do it.
It's the best channel for you, right?
Yeah, I obviously spend a lot of time thinking, like we all do, but like, I have the vehicle of being able to speak it into the microphone, write it down. It's a powerful tool to have.
It really
when
is.
You feel like crap.
Amen to that. I'm looking at you now thinking, oh, I wish I'd grown and blossomed as such, and maybe I wouldn't be so anxious if I could play anything other than the triangle. If I could channel some kind of musical talent. I mean, I can hold a note in a bar, but that's just about it. Heaven, obviously extraordinary, as I said, a huge success. We got the album. The show. Paint a picture for me, Niall, my old friend.
It was it all kind of came from that started in the lockdown. I wrote the song, The Show, during like probably August, September of that first proper lockdown, when I was just in the apartment. The piano was there, the TV's there, the couch is there, the dining room table's there, the kitchen's just through there. So it's like in between those, you know, 4 walls, and sitting there, spending a lot of time thinking, because we weren't out getting like life experience, were we? It's not like we were out and about. But you were doing bigger picture thinking, is what I found, and that's where the show came from. It's the metaphor for life, I guess, without getting too artsy fartsy. But it's like it allowed me then, once I'd come up with that title and written that song, it allowed me to think about what the overall concept of the album would be, and it became the ups and downs, the good, the bad of life, the show.
Did that come easy to you? I've spoken to a lot of artists. I'm very lucky to do this job, as you know. And a lot of them said that the lockdown and being in not so splendid isolation fueled their creativity, because you were forced to, really, because you were starved of everything else, you know, performing, getting out there, being with the punters, pressing the flesh. They were particularly driven during that time. Were you driven, or were there moments where you thought, like all of us, blimey, where's this going to end?
No, well, I released my album the day that we were told we were going into lockdown. So I didn't take over the news that day. Once I'd realised that happened, then the tour got cancelled, obviously, and then once we all realised, okay, this is probably not going away as quick as... Remember when there was a time when people were going, it'll be over in a few weeks, and then we started to realise by watching the news every day that this was not the case. We were going to be locked away for a while. So once I'd gotten over that, I kind of started to realise, also, I haven't had time off probably in 10 years. And I should probably just go along with what everyone else is doing in the world. We're all going nowhere. So I was working out, cooking, cleaning, doing the usual, what everyone else is doing. Not particularly getting creative, and kind of still a bit angry at the world that I didn't get to tour and all that kind of stuff. Once that subsided, then it was sitting down and like just seeing what happens when I sat down and waited for that the creative juices to flow, if you like, and then it kicked off from there, really.
Hannah Waddingham, I know, recently at the White House, obviously famous now for Ted Lasso and soon to be hosting Eurovision. Another, clearly, event that's close to my heart. You and Biden, can we have a quiet word about St. Patrick's Day? I mean, President Biden, even with all the success that you've enjoyed over the years, what a moment.
Oh, it was bonkers.
Tell me.
It was, the whole thing was just insane, just like getting into the White House, seeing it, you know, the history in the building, being brought on a little tour, the mad hallways of the First Lady's hallways with all these beautiful portraits of all the First Ladies over the years, and being brought to the Oval Office.
Is it much smaller than real life?
No, actually.
No, is it massive?
It's the camera doesn't make it look any bigger or smaller. It looks exactly how it does on camera. And he has all his little family bits behind his desk and things like that. It was really cool just to get the history of it and stuff like that. Then I had a few moments where I made the TikTok video that we put up with him. We had a great chat. I think he's madly into the Irish thing.
Yeah, of course.
He's got Irish background, so I felt like I was talking to some man from some village down the road. You know, he was very like that, but clearly a very smart man, public servant, and just a lovely man. And the whole day, myself and my team and the band and stuff that were there, we just spent the whole day just walking around to each other and going, take this in. Yeah. There's a good chance we're not coming back here. We're getting invited back here. And it's one of those days you just really want to remember, and it was really special. It was really cool.
Is there a gift shop?
Oh, I don't know. But I didn't realise that they have like 3,000 people walk through there a day on tours. Yeah. And the president's like in a meeting room here, and there's like a divider, and like there's like 2,000 people walking around. No, I didn't see a gift shop, but I did steal a lot of the White House presidential sealed napkins.
I knew you were going there. I know, right?
From the bathroom.
Well, why
we all
not?
came out with piles of them.
Will you be re-gifting them? Can I expect one at Christmas, my old friend?
There'd be one of those things where you'll come around to my house for a dinner party or whatever, and they'll be in the bathroom, but you're not allowed to dry your hands with them. You have to use a towel next to it.
You're just laminating them.
Yeah.
For posterity. So much to talk to you about The Voice. I mean, it's extraordinary because obviously with the success you've enjoyed over the years, solo and with the lads, I mean, you swept the streets and filled stadiums in the States. I mean, you were successful all the way around the world, but The Voice as well. Has that changed things for you over there too? Is it?
I suppose we'll see. We'll see what the outcome is. But yeah, it's an amazing thing to be involved in. I wasn't sure would I be good at it. I didn't realise I didn't really know what to think when I got offered it. And I got there, luckily enough, get on and off camera very well with all the other coaches. It's just a howl, like, constantly. Yeah. I'm actually afraid to go live because the edit has been a big help. We do have a great laugh, and the talent on it is just and they're getting younger. It's
Yeah.
like insane. I've got a kid in my team. He's 15. He's got like the maturity levels of like a 50-year-old. He's insane.
Well, how do you think I feel sort of interviewing you now? I haven't been in the business for as long as I have, and meeting you and the boys all those years ago. And it's like, now I feel like, look, I'm sat here in a cardigan, mate, and you're in double denim. I mean, at least you're still on brand.
I usually wear cardigans.
Do you?
I wear cardigans constantly. I've actually got too many. The fans are well aware
It's
of
the
it.
comfort. And I read, mate, that you said you wouldn't turn around for yourself if you'd listened to yourself warble back then.
In hindsight, it turned out well.
Yeah.
But it was probably a year early. It was the right place, right time kind of thing. You need a bit of that.
You do.
You know?
You do. You
Yeah,
do indeed.
you do.
I want to talk about Lewis Capaldi as well, because there's obviously a big bromance going on there. I'm a huge fan of his. I know his drummer Freddie very well. He's a friend of the family. I know, yeah. In fact, we'll lose any stories I mentioned about Freddie. Where, you know,
there's not many you can tell about Freddie.
No, exactly.
Apart from the fact that he's a really good drummer.
He's a really good drummer, and Lewis and you are very close as well. Yeah. It's a great friendship, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's. I don't really have many like friends in famous friends. If you like. I don't particularly need any more friends. Yeah. And yeah, I think people have that kind of perception that all the famous people are all friends with each other, but that's not the case whatsoever. But myself and Lewis have that kind of Celtic crossover thing. We've got a very similar sense of humour, his being a bit more brash than mine. But we get on very, very well, and we just he's just a good mate, and we just have a good laugh. And he's smashing it now. Look at him.
It's phenomenal, and obviously, you know, well documented in his documentary. He's been very open about his own issues with performing and stuff, and you know, you can only imagine the pressure that he's under. What about you two together on a lighter note, performing in your pants? Oh. I mean, it was some billboard.
Yeah, we're gorgeous, aren't we? We look beautiful. We're just we're
your tighty whities.
Dumb and Dumber, honestly. But we just have a laugh everywhere we go. People are always asking, when are you going to do a song? We've written before, and you would have known about it if it was any good. Right. We'll let you know when we've got a good one. Our standards are high, Richard, you know?
Yeah, I know.
So we have to get into the studio. I mean, he's in the States touring now. I'm here. It's whenever we get together, it's more for a drink more than it is to get in the studio. But we'll get there at some point.
I'm glad you lowered your high standards today to meet me, Niall, again.
Please.
Stop.
Please stop. Someone stop this, man.
Someone will buy it. Couple more questions. One, golf. Don't even start me on it. Now, I know you're hugely passionate, aren't you? I used to have to caddy for my dad, God bless his soul, back in the day, and I was thinking, you know, the next time I want to be in a golf buggy is either in a resort or with balloons on the back with 100th birthday on it. Do you know what I mean? It's not a natural home for me, Niall, and if you asked me to go golfing, I would, we'd fall out, which would be an awful thing after knowing each other for this long. Hugely passionate about it, and it's been hugely successful for you as well. Yeah,
we've got a golf management company. We manage... we've managed 14 players in Europe and in the States. Yeah, and it's just been a really good, I suppose, side hustle to what I normally do, but I got more invested in the side hustle than I thought I would in terms of the day-to-day running of the company and stuff. And we've got English golfer Tyrrell Hatton and people like that. So it's just been a really good, it's a nice thing to be involved in. And hopefully it does well too.
I'm sure it will. Final question, inevitable, you and the lads, any chance?
Not that I know of. I think that's going to be my answer for as long as I don't know anything about it.
So I'll do another one that I'm always asked in the office. You've got to mention that. Bond. Would you?
What's that about?
Oh, don't even get me started. I'm literally like, Barbara Broccoli, please cast Bond so I don't have to ask that question again. Yeah,
I'll do it if they want me to. If they want Bond to sound like this.
Why not?
Imagine an Irish Bond.
An Irish Bond?
I mean, it's the dream. I mean, we had Brosnan, but he was doing the whole English thing, wasn't he?
And you had Sean Connery, obviously Scottish, doing, tickle my
Yeah.
So you could...
We're not even going to get into our Sean Connery impressions.
We're not going to do Sean Connery impressions. Congratulations. Festivals. I mean, this is another thing before we wrap. Yeah. This is great. I can't believe, mate, that you've not stepped up onto the mic. I know, Glasgow, you'd be the first of, the lads to get up there and do that. You've been there. Uh-huh. I'd like to chop her in and chop her out, if I'm honest. But as far as dirt under your fingernails is concerned, you've got some festivals coming up as well. That's exciting, right?
That's the most exciting thing. I can't wait for it. I always go to festivals, go to Glastonbury every year, go to a few others, but I've never actually done them. Because up until probably 7 or 8 years ago, pop wasn't a thing really at festivals, was it? Now, so it's become a thing. And yeah, I just can't wait to get out. We're playing Isle of Wight here, we're playing Transmit in Glasgow, doing a load of things across Europe. We're doing one in Japan, we're doing a couple in the States. Yeah, no, it's going to be, because I want to see it as like a bit of a challenge. Because obviously, like, the first few thousand people down the front will be, you know, the diehards up against the barrier. But I've been that fella that's had a few pints and rolled past a tent or a stage and gone, who's that? And then became a fan of that said artist. So I'm setting myself a challenge to get Joe Soap on his way to the burger van after a few pints and say maybe he'll buy an album or something. Yeah,
exactly. Watery onions, a couple of flowery baps, and I'm suddenly a fan of Niall Horan again, right?
There we go. There's the challenge.
There's the challenge. Meltdown. Once again, congratulations on Heaven, and we are champing at the bit for the show.
Yes.
It's lovely to see you, mate.
Good to see you.
What a twinkler.
Love you.